Good morning. How's it going? This is one of my first videos. I'm just going to be previewing the United States men's national team against New Zealand. It's tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN and Unimaz. So I'm just going to be, I don't have anything prepared. I'm just going to be kind of winging it, reading stuff as I go along. I have some idea of the roster changes. So it's not like I haven't. I watched part of the Cuba game. It was pretty unbearable to watch, so I turned it off after a little while. But I don't think there was anything we could learn from that game anyway. But as far as this New Zealand game, it looks like New Zealand's okay opposition. It's not the best, but I'd probably put them. I think they would probably make the Hex if they were in CONCACAF. Maybe. I don't know. They're around that level. Maybe below some of the smaller CONCACAF teams, or some of the medium CONCACAF teams like Honduras or Panama or Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica. I would put them probably around that level or a little below. And I don't know if I'm overestimating or underestimating. Honestly, that's how little I know about the New Zealand football team. But we're going to be just taking a look at this, and I'm just going to be giving you my completely non-professional opinion as a fan. So first off, we're here on USsoccer.com. The first thing that happens when you get to this page is that this video autoplays, and yeah, there doesn't really seem to be a way to pause it other than hitting the share button. So. Or otherwise control it with any sort of video controls, fast forward, whatever. So this is a piece of junk right here. Just pro tip: U.S. Soccer, fix this. All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the roster. So David Bingham. So for our goalkeepers, we have David Bingham, Bill Meade, and William Yarborough. It looks like there's really no changes there except for Ethan Horvath, who got sent home. In fact, let me pull up the changes. What are the changes? I should really have this prepared, but I'm really not. All right, so 9 players have returned to their clubs. Okay, so John Brooks, Jeff Cameron, Timmy Chandler, Ethan Horvath, Fabian Johnson, Jordan Morris, Christian Pulisic, Chris Wondolowski, and Bobby Wood. So that's kind of a shame, just because it is, I really wanted to see some more of Christian Pulisic along with Fabian Johnson and everything. Just seeing how they work together, because you really couldn't see anything in the Cuba game. The Cuba game, I've played on. I play amateur rec league soccer, and we play on some really bad fields, but I'll tell you that Cuba game was close. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that the ball bounces. You can't control the ball. You can't play on the ground attacking football. So there was nothing really to learn from that Cuba game other than that some of the younger players, I think Christian Pulisic had a hard time out there just because he's not used to it. Chris Wondolowski's out there because he's a vet. He can handle situations like that, and he's just more experienced. And he's obviously not nearly as talented of a player. He's not nearly as good, and that's obvious. That goes without saying. But I think for that game, he was better suited for that game. He looked much more comfortable. So those are the 9 the 9 players that have been sent home. So it looks like the new goalkeepers. So you have Bill Meade in there. That's pretty good. As far as defenders go, it looks like they're bringing Kellen Acosta in. Matt Beasler. Who else? Michael Orozco, was he already there? Tim Parker's coming in. Let's see. Midfielders, Paul Areola, Michael Bradley, Lyndon Gooch. I really want to see Lyndon Gooch play. I know these aren't changes, right? You know, Lyndon Gooch was already there, but hopefully we get to see him play today. He's been pretty good for Sunderland. He hasn't really been playing too much recently, but earlier in the season when some of the Sunderland starters were a bit injured, like Khazri, Khazri wasn't injured, but he was kind of working his way back in. Gooch kind of got the starting spot. I don't know if Cattermole was injured. Again, I don't really pay too much attention to Sunderland, but anyway, Gooch was playing a great game the first 2 or 3 games of the season. He just overall he looks much more comfortable than most of our players, most of the U.S. National team players do on the ball. Obviously not quite as hyped up as Christian Pulisic because, he's a little older, and Pulisic's also, Pulisic's younger and he's at a better club, and he's actually getting more minutes than Gooch is right now, at a better club, competing with better players. So obviously Pulisic is more hyped up, but he got sent home, and so did all these other European-based guys, mostly for their club situations, so they'll have a chance to play over the weekend. So the only one that I'm really, really excited to see is Gooch. As far as forwards, though, Juan Agudelo, I am not too surprised to see him there, but I will be surprised if he starts because Klinsmann doesn't usually start him. Agudelo's been called in a bunch of times, and I don't know if he's failed to impress or just doesn't fit into the system, but he usually doesn't start. But I've always been a big fan of Agudelo. Ever since he scored that first goal against South Africa in 2010, 2011, at 18 years old, he has really impressed me. He's one of those technical players that we just don't have, one of those tricky players that we don't have. So it would be nice if he really fulfills his potential, because he has a lot more potential than he's currently showing. He can play at a better club than New England. He never really got his chance to impress in Europe too much. The work part, he wanted to go to Stoke. I don't know if he he got stars in his eyes and wanted to go to the Premier League, but he never got a work permit because he didn't have enough caps for the U.S. team, and he just didn't. I don't know if he couldn't work his way up in the Dutch league, or maybe try to move somewhere else, or if he didn't want to. Reading reports from that time, I don't know if it's just tabloid stuff or just rumors, or if it's actually credible, but there were plenty of rumors saying that he had interest from German clubs, from clubs in France, from other Dutch clubs. So I'm not really sure why the whole Europe thing didn't work out for him, but I do think he's a very technically gifted player. He definitely doesn't play like a U.S. player. He's a very technically gifted player, and I think it would be good for Jurgen to try and do for Juan Agudelo what he did for Bobby Wood. Bobby Wood before making appearances for the U.S. national team was kind of a nobody. He wasn't really on the radar, but Klinsmann saw him, probably put in some good word for other clubs, and then he went over to where did he go? I can't believe I'm forgetting where he went. That's ridiculous. But anyway, he went over to a 2 Bundesliga club. He wasn't doing so well in the TSV 1860 Munich. He wasn't doing so well there. Then he moved up to the 2 Bundesliga club, which I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. I'm gonna go ahead and Google this real quick. Booby Wood, Bobby Wood. He was at Union Berlin, of course. I was going to say Hertha Berlin, but obviously he wasn't there. That's John Brooks's club. But he did pretty well at Union Berlin, and he seems to be doing okay at Hamburg as well. He seems to be starting pretty much every game. But anyway, I'd like to see what happened to Bobby Wood happen to Juan Agudelo. I think he has just as much potential. I think he is equally as talented, but in a completely different way. All right, so moving on, Josie Altidore. he's on fire right now, so I'm excited to see him. Terrence Boyd, I don't think he's really played too much at Leipzig or at all. I don't know. I haven't been following him, but I actually don't think he's started or played much at all. Definitely hasn't started. I know that. And Bayern and Julian Green hasn't played or started at Bayern Munich since those friendlies. He might have gotten garbage time here and there. I'm not really sure, but Green, I think he's a great player. I think he's a great player at a club that he won't get a chance at, or maybe he will. The reason I think he won't right now is because it's such a stacked team. He seems to be getting on the bench, but unless Lewandowski gets injured or someone else gets injured, I don't see him playing. And I know everyone's saying that that's just an injury away. That's just an injury away. But is it? Are we sure that Julian Green is the backup for Lewandowski no matter what? Because I don't see him playing ever, even in games where they're up. I don't really see him coming in. I hope I'm wrong. I hope and I'm not wishing an injury on anyone, but I hope he gets his chance, through injury or otherwise. I hope he gets his chance, because he is a player. He's in that same Juan Agudelo boat. Obviously, Julian Green is at a much better club, playing at a much higher level. I wouldn't say playing, but he's at a much better club. But he also has that technical ability that most of our players don't. So it would be very good to see him. He's a very non-traditional U.S. player, just like Juan Agudelo. I would like to see him succeed, and I would like to see our our play style, and our soccer culture kind of move in that direction, in that more technically minded direction. So those are that's the roster. So as far as a lineup, I'm predicting that we see Juan Agudelo and Julian Green. I know Alzador is probably going to start first half, and I don't know who's going to be paired with. I'd like to see Julian Green at forward instead of a winger. That'd be nice, but we don't know. I think we're going to see Lyndon Gooch in the middle, along with Michael Bradley. Because Gooch says he prefers to play in the middle, but he'll play anywhere. Maybe we see him play in the middle. I see Michael Bradley and Sasha Kljestan in the middle. Lyndon Gooch out left, and I guess, or I don't know. Does it look like we have wingers, or are these just the changes? Am I being stupid? These don't look like just the changes because, yeah, okay. So who are we gonna have on the right wing? That's what I don't get. I don't see who we're gonna have on the right wing. Paul Arriola. Yeah, okay. I just had a brain fart right there. Paul Arriola on the right, Lyndon Gooch on the left. We'll have Michael Bradley and Sasha Kljestan in the middle. Kellen Acosta is listed as a defender, so that's not ideal. But what are you gonna do? Klinsmann likes to play people in whatever position he wants them to play. So I think we're gonna see Kellen Acosta as a left back. For our defenders, for our center backs, I think we're going to see Matt Besler and Omar Gonzalez, because behind Jeff Cameron and John Brooks, I think those are our two best guys. Steve Birnbaum's pretty decent, but Matt Besler on his day is I trust him a little more. But you never know. We could see Matt Besler and Omar Gonzalez, or Steve Birnbaum and Omar Gonzalez. I don't really see anyone else starting as a center back. And right back, obviously, we have DeAndre Yedlin, who surprisingly enough stayed. I don't know if the championship schedule is different, but I guess he decided to stay. So that's good. Goalkeeper, I'd like to see Bill Hamid start. Everyone says Bill Hamid's great. Some people say Bill Hamid's pretty good. Others say that he's not that good and that he's just a good shot stopper, so it makes him look better than he is. I don't know. I personally like Bill Hamid, so I'd like to see him get the start. It'd be interesting to see Bill Hamid start with Steve Birnbaum as well. and Perry Kitchen. So Steve Birnbaum, Perry Kitchen, and Bill Meade. You got your DC United trio right there, reunited. So that'd be interesting to see. So I'm hoping that we see Bill Meade start, Steve Birnbaum and Omar Gonzalez as our two center backs, Kellen Acosta as a left back, DeAndre Yedlin on the right, and in the midfield we'll see Paul Arriola on the right, Michael Bradley and Sasha Kljestan in the middle, with Michael Bradley kind of more in the defensive role, and that'll free up Kljestan to kind of be more creative and attack more. And on the left, Lyndon Gooch. And we could see, I don't know, maybe we could switch that up, maybe move Gooch to the middle, see how and then move Kellen Acosta up to the left, and then put someone else at left back, maybe Matt Beasler, just to see, you know, how Gooch performs in the middle, how Acosta performs at left mid, you know, because we need to see these things. We have 6 substitutions, and it's a friendly against New Zealand, so we need to definitely take advantage of this opportunity. As far as forwards, I'm hoping that Juan Agudelo and Josie Altidore start, and then we get Green in the second half. You know, Green already played against Cuba. I know he probably doesn't consider that playing because it was a terrible game, but he got to play against Cuba, so I'd like to see Juan Agudelo get the start today against New Zealand. Again, I don't know anything about New Zealand, and I'm not exactly a soccer tactician or anything like that. So I'm just a layman giving you guys some just my personal opinion. So yeah, so if I had to start, it would be Juan Agudelo and Josie Altidore up top. It would be Paul Arriola on the right, Michael Bradley, Sasha Kljestan in the middle, Lyndon Gooch on the left. And then the back four would be Kellen Acosta on the left, Birnbaum and Gonzalez in the middle, and then DeAndre Yedlin obviously at right back, with a starting goalkeeper of Bill Meade. So that's my roster for today. I know we don't normally, do we play a 4-4-2? I don't know. I think we do pretty often. Yeah, see, it's when you're when you're making recordings like this, right? When you've never done it before, it's kind of when you realize you have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm pretty sure we played a 4-4-2. You know, with Bob, obviously we played 4-4-2. With Jurgen, I don't think it's that common. He liked to do some diamond 4-4-2, but sometimes he likes to have Josie Altidore all the way up top by himself. Last time I think we saw 4-4-2 with Bobby Wood and Altidore up top, but it wasn't exactly a 4-4-2. Like I don't know. Anyway, I think we'll see two. The point is, I think we'll see 2 forwards, 4 midfielders, and 4 defenders, and a goalkeeper. That's what I think we're going to see. Is that a 4-4-2? Yeah, probably. I don't know if you have to switch around like the shape of it. It's not going to be like a flat 4-4-2. I don't know. But yeah, so it's times like these where you realize you have no idea what you're talking about. So that is my roster preview for USA against New Zealand. I don't know anything about New Zealand. I think we're going to win. That's going to be at RFK Stadium at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be watching it, and yeah, I'll pretty much just be after the game. I'll see if I can whip up another one of these really boring, long videos that lack any sort of real substance, and yeah, I'll try to upload it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll try to make a video after the game. All right, thank you. Bye.